Sales. If you came here for the quick answer, it is sales. Now, if you want to listen to me go more in depth in this topic, stick around, because today we're discussing what... Disclaimer, this video is not talking about the game's quality and or comparing which game will be better. I am only talking about possible sale numbers. Before that, let's do a quick comparison. Let's say you are a first-person shooter developer and you haven't made a game since 2011. Now let's say you've been working on a new game for a few years to finally bring the franchise back, but you just so happen to launch your game next to a Call of Duty. Launching TDUSC at the same time as FH5 is basically the same as launching a Shell Shockers game at the same time as some kind of new Call of Duty. That's right, you're about to get fucking obliterated. Now let's take a look at some other sale numbers. Forza Horizon 3 sold 2.5 million copies by February of 2021, and even more impressively, Forza Horizon 4 sold over 2 million copies within its first week, and as of June of 2019, the game sold over 10 million copies, and that isn't even counting Game Pass subscribers who pushed the game to up to over 21 million players in 2020. Those are absolutely insane numbers, especially for just a racing game. It has become very clear that Forza Horizon is no longer part of the niche racing genre and has become a mainstream multi-million-dollar series, which is part of a multi-billion-dollar franchise. I unfortunately haven't been able to find sale numbers for Tetra Unlimited 2006, but I was able to find sale numbers for TDU2, which is great, which sold 2 million units over the span of 5 years, which isn't exactly fantastic. The game wasn't exactly a commercial success, and it very obviously didn't save Atari from bankruptcy. Most of the game's employees who worked on the game were laid off, as most of the game's assets were also just sold off. And you might be thinking, oh, this doesn't mean much. Besides, TDU2 is 10 years old. Shut up. Forza Horizon, as I have stated, is a multi-million-dollar franchise that is guaranteed to sell over 2 million copies within the first week of its availability. And with the Mexico setting, 10 million copies sold is obviously a no-brainer. In fact, I believe the Mexico setting will sell more than Japan ever would, because obviously Mexico's preference is fucking huge. Like, Mexico's preference of the Xbox console is absolutely huge. I made this little timeline which is meant to represent different times to launch to the USC. As you can clearly see, launching the game buttfuck right in the middle of November is literally a death sentence. If the game somehow manages to launch in November, they won't only sell way less than FH5, but their sales will be heavily affected by launching next to the biggest open world racing game. September 2021 or January of 2022 will also affect sales, as it would be so much more hype for FH5 than for TDU. Horizon 5 is literally the most anticipated game of E3. You can't really expect to be able to compete with that. August 2021 or March/February of 2022. While not as heavily affecting their sales, does still mean the game will be very overshadowed by Horizon's sheer fucking size. I mean, come on. And finally, July 2021 or past April of 2022 is in fact the perfect time to release the game, at least in my opinion. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is a very anticipated game, whose release date unfortunately depends on the bigger franchise's own release date, as Forza Horizon 5 is Microsoft's big showcase for the year, going as far as making it the penultimate announcement and dedicating nearly 10 minutes just for this one single game, which Microsoft is pushing and marketing very highly, and will undoubtedly crush anyone who attempts to compete with it.